welcome to here to relate to you.
Whoa, she's stuck in the past, guys.
I am. I was about to
Stuck in the
say hear me
past.
out, but go check us out too. We still exist. Hear me out still exists.
Same channel.
Yeah, same channel, just farther down the line, guys. And I go see the freshness of it all. Go check out how queer we were.
Our look in general.
Yes, our look in general. Thank God because He has brought us here.
Seriously.
Well, for today's episode, it's going to be a very short and sweet episode. I think for this one, even though we are called Relate to You, and we hope that we get to relate to our male audience as well, but given that our audience is mostly female, today we're going to go into that route of relating to women, relating to females. So, we're going to talk about beauty and and not necessarily like what is your beauty routine, what is your nighttime routine, no,
Right.
but far more interesting than that, acceptance and I think self-esteem.
Yeah.
So Kes, um at what age were you like, I'm okay. You realize you're not the coca, la última coca en el desierto, but you're also like, pero tampoco,
No estoy.
no estoy mal.
I think it took me a while to get there. I do think that I always had a good sense of confidence.
Oh, yeah.
Because my mom was really good about two things. One, you're a leader, and two, you're beautiful. That was just two things that she always instilled in all of us. So at least for me, thankfully, I actually do say this thankfully, because I do think Dios me libró de eso. I didn't have body image issues.
Okay.
And so growing up, even though my weight has fluctuated and more on the heavier side, in my later years, I can honestly say I never looked in the mirror and felt hideous. I know what I look like, and I know that depending on where I'm at in the world, I'm a different rating, I might be a 1 there, but I'm a 10 somewhere else, But I think I've always had a healthy balance of knowing where I stand. So there has never been a point in my life where I thought, as far as beauty goes, that I am la última coca en el desierto.
Oh, okay.
So no, I don't think so. However, I think when I started to feel beautiful, it was around maybe 18. Maybe 18, because I had straight hair growing up. And so when I was little, I had beautiful long hair, with very tiny curls at the top, so it looked cute, it looked pretty. But like most people, actually I shouldn't say most people, this is more of a poverty thing. Había piojos en la escuela. I don't know if you ever experienced that, where they check your
Yo me
your
empiojé
hair.
como 3 times.
Yeah, so they had to chop off my hair. And then when I hit puberty at 12, my hair became curly.
Oh.
So I had the weirdest middle school transition, because this part of my hair was starting to curl up, but this part of my hair was straight. So I looked like I had a mullet. That's the best way I can explain it. They're coming
Como
back
los
though.
Bukis.
Como los bookies. And so what I did all my middle school years, if you
Hallelujah.
see my photos, I had a ponytail. And you would see the the way the wave goes in the ponytail, but the rest of it is straight. And so when I hit 14, 15, I tried to figure out how to curl my hair, but I couldn't. So I burnt it. I burnt it for years and years, and I never burnt it right, or I never straightened it right. I had here super, super straight, but back here, I'm walking around with those waves, because it was. And then if I so much started to sweat, I mean, it was already, So it took me a really long time because it took me a long time to master how to take care of my hair or how to style my hair. So it wasn't until 18 that I could honestly say I felt beautiful without the association of someone liking me. So
Oh,
I think
that's
that's
very
important
interesting.
to say
Yeah.
because, yes, when I was younger, there were boys that had crushes on me and I had crushes on them. So it was a very like, oh, this is why, he likes me because I'm beautiful. But then when that fell out or, for whatever reason, there's a different season, then it's like, but am I? Am I really generally a beauty or only to this person am I a beauty? So I would say that. What about for you?
For me, I do think I had a very poor idea of myself.
Hmm.
I do think I didn't have a very good, or rather, I struggled with my self esteem.
Mm-hmm.
So where I had areas where I thought I was very good at, I had other areas in the physical sense where I didn't like certain things of me. But I think for me, okay,
There are people who still haven't reached
right,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
For me, I'll be honest. I think I started to truly, truly love myself um, when I decided to have a true relationship with God. Now, I've always obviously, I grew up in church and I believed in God and everything, but it was always that of like, why did you make me this way? Kind of thing.
mm-hmm.
Um, and then a couple years back when I started working as an English tutor or an English teacher, um, I kind of grew some confidence there, but it was confidence of like it was based off of people's idea of me.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't really my idea of myself. It was, oh, so and so complimented me and so said this. And then, when my students would say things like, ay, teacher, hoy se ve bien bonita. Ay, teacher, this and teacher that and teacher, Miss Marilu, you look beautiful. Miss Marilu, this, todo eso. And so that would be like, oh, yeah, then,
Oh yeah.
and so I think my perception was based off of everyone's perception of me.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't. It was truly, truly, truly until I opened my heart to God and I was like, everything that I don't like, you deal with. Everything that I'm lacking, everything that it doesn't benefit me, you deal with that. And that truly started to change in me. And
That's
I
strong. That's
and
powerful.
and I started to accept and love myself, not based off of what others thought of me, but based off what I thought of myself.
Mm.
And because back then I really wanted to please the Lord, and I still do, guys, I still do. But back then it was, I came back to my first love in a way. I had a relationship with God and everything. And so I I started to have a positive opinion of myself because I wanted to have positive outcomes. I wanted to have a positive relationship with God. And so when I saw all this change, I saw all the things I started to say no. I saw all the all the courage that it took for me to distance myself from people, from everything just to please the Lord. That gave me a confidence that I never had, truly. And porque now my confidence was, well, ¿qué es lo que Dios piensa de mí?
Right.
And so, ahorita sí, obviously, y no sé, y lo bueno de eso es que no se me fue a la cabeza, como cuando, when my perception was based off of people, sí se me fue a la cabeza. Yeah, if my head was filled with air of like, oh, so and so said I look like this, and I know so and so likes me, and I know so and so, is trying to woo me off my feet or whatever. Y and so, yay, algo tengo yo. Y sí, llega un punto en el que dices, bueno, pues soy la última coca en el desierto, Pero, pues, obviously, siempre va a haber alguien más que tú, siempre va a haber alguien que te dice, nah, not really,
Yeah.
My mom was that for me. My mom, for a lot of things, is very like, no, hija, tú eres bonita, pero, pues, no te
Which,
creas.
it's so good that you have that. Because no disrespect to my mom, but she wasn't like that.
Mm.
My mom was over like achieving in many ways of that. Like there were so many times that I had to bring her down. No, mom, I'm not. And I think that would worry her of like, no, 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 I want you to think you're beautiful. It's like, no, I know that to a certain degree I am, but I'm not the most. But for a parent, it's always no, no, you are the most. And so for a lot of things, she's like, no, 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 el fulano de tal te estaba mirando. And I'm like, no, they weren't. Like, they weren't. I know that they weren't. And so a lot of the times at the beginning, I totally can relate with that. There was that, like, no, people are looking at me. And maybe there is a little bit of that. I really struggled with it in the praise team. I can honestly say. When I was in the praise team at church,
I think so.
because you were up there and you everybody sees who's singing up there. I wanted to sport a new dress every week. Every week I wanted to sport a new dress. I lived off of the compliments that some of the people in the congregation, sisters, and were just say, hermana, te ves tan bonita, oh, hermana, me encanta su vestido, lo que sea. And that was like, okay, now I'm a little higher. And then another time, oh my God. And then, if it was the person that you were trying to get at or was trying to get at you even more, when I stopped being on praise team, that was such a change because nobody was complimenting me anymore because they weren't seeing me up there anymore. And then I wasn't trying as hard anymore because before up there, there's like, okay, we're going to have a special service or we're going to have a holiday service. We're all going to coordinate. So it was like, yay, another reason to go to the store and buy something because I don't have the mustard, color or whatever. And so once I remember the first time I was already older, I think I was talking to Joel. We went to a holiday service. It was like Christmas. And I wore something I already had, like in my closet. And I felt so free. I was like, whoa, I don't care what I'm wearing. I don't care if it's a brand new dress, right? And again, I'm not saying anything against buying dresses. I still love a new outfit. But what I mean by that is for a long time, I based off of my beauty, off of what I got from people. So when I stopped getting those compliments, even though I didn't have a complete like destroying of my esteem, there was of like that
There was
feeling.
a hit.
It was more of like my time is gone. My era is ended, like I was beautiful once and now I'm just the person that's in the sidelines. And I do think that women struggle with this. I think women struggle the older that they get. They want to be told they look younger than their years, or they want to be told, you look beautiful still, because it is a good feeling to be reminded that you look good and you dress nice. But when you can't manage the differences in your seasons, or maybe it's not always healthy to always want to be the center of the attention because you don't realize that you're coming off a certain way, then that's when I think it can be very damaging because now you're looking for opportunities to try to get that attention.
Well, I think that's to me a person that that guides themselves with that attitude of like, I want the compliments, I'm fishing for that, I'm fishing for the attention. I think for me that's a person that doesn't have confidence, even though it might look like they have confidence. But to me, confidence is knowing what you have, knowing that that what your attributes, but also knowing where you're lacking
and not having to advertise
and not having and I think I've paid compliments to women, and I've gotten back with like, right, I've gotten back with like, yes, here, touch, and it's like, okay. And I think again, I don't know these women, for all I know, they're, that is true confidence. But to me, confidence is like, oh, thank you, and then you ask them where they bought the dress, and they're not gatekeepers. They tell you where they bought the dress, and they don't give you backhanded comments of like, oh, I could never wear that. That only that you could only have pulled that out is like, Okay.
Right.
You know, so to me is I don't know. Confidence confidence is very strange from person to person, I guess, and how you manage to showcase it. I can only say that to me confidence, at least from what I've seen in my mom and my sisters, is someone that yes, se
Can take a compliment.
can take a compliment, se pone lo bonito and se siente bien in their own skin y todo eso, pero no lo hace porque, you know, they want to, or like a competition, like, oh,
Right.
I wanna look better than, or I want to, you know, somehow outshine someone, or,
Right.
you know, or I know they're gonna know where I bought this dress because le dejé la tag, you know, something like that. Like, okay, you know, I don't know. I think confidence is also in the way you walk, in the way you talk, in the way you
Treat people.
treat people, in the way, you know, in the way you treat yourself, because most than likely that's how you treat others. And so, con respeto, con amor, con cuidado. Por eso es que para mí, my confidence came as I made changes. Like my
Right.
true, genuine confidence came as I made changes to please the Lord, to be like, God, do with this what you will.
Yeah.
Y yes, every once in a while, no soy perfecta, me falla, you know, si veo un vestido y si digo, uy, you know, se me va a ver así, se me va a ver así, hopefully. Pero, girls, yo todavía me pasa que I visualize it, I put it on and it's like, it doesn't look
It
how I
doesn't look the
visualize
same.
it, you know? And y todavía I have days where it's like I've tried on the fourth dress y nada me gusta. And it's like, oh gosh, you know, and I think it's that. I think it's liberating when you're like, you know what? Se me vea o no se me vea bien. Voy a la casa del Señor
Yeah.
y así me voy a ir a hincar y así me voy a ir a recibir y ya, ok, ya, porque esto no es un pageant, you know, esto, ya. And so I think I've had those Sundays where it's like, yeah, you know, yes, 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 yes. I tend to not wear my dresses twice. Yes, I agree. I need to
But that's
work
just
on that.
because she has the whole season
Yeah,
collections, you
yeah.
know?
And you know what I also think it is but people might think que yo los Sundays, nada más los Sundays me he visto bien. Pero no, yo during the week, in una office where it's just me, I'm still dressed up. I'm still,
Yeah, she's true.
you know, I'm still wearing my heels. I'm still wearing my nice purse. I'm still showing up, you know, with a very nice dress. O sea, no lo, por eso es que yo no lo hago por la gente. Yo lo hago porque a mí me gusta to dress up. A mí me gusta, verme bien. Um, pero, pero sí. Ah, pero, por ejemplo, a mí, it happened to me once, and where I was, you know, ¿cómo te diré? Where someone tried to make a compliment, give me a compliment, and it was a backhanded compliment of like, I could never, you know,
Oh,
only
I've gotten
you,
those.
only you could have pulled that up or whatever, y todo eso, and it's like, okay, so where's the compliment? I don't like, okay, you know, and you're like, oh no, yeah, thank you, and then you tell them where you buy your stuff, and like, oh, I didn't know Shein had those type of dresses. I'm like,
Oh my God.
oh,
Look, sorry, I have to make a little bit of a note here for Sheen, or Shein, however you pronounce it. I am all for discount stores. So TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Ross, sponsor us, Shein. It's where I buy my clothes. And I always get a certain kind of reaction sometimes where it's just like, and from all of them, I wouldn't say just Shein. Um, oh, pero no te dura. Like for sure no te va a durar.
oh, it's fast, ¿cómo le dice?
Because
Fast
it's
fashion?
fast fashion, and so the material is not, good quality or whatever. But there's also like, aren't they like isn't there reports that there's like child labor and something going on in the world? And I was like, you know what, like, as when I get that comment, I'm like, not that that isn't important or that that isn't something that should bring compassion, but it's like, do you realize all the products that you have? You know,
iPhone.
there's so many products that we have in our day to day that are tainted as
Yeah.
corporations and as companies, and it's like, pero bien fácil. No, oh, no, no, I could never with Sheen or
So
Shein.
you only buy organic fabric.
Yeah,
Like what?
synthetic or whatever. But sorry to interrupt you. I just had to.
But
I
anyway,
had to advocate for where I shop.
it's just, guys, it's a small bracket. If you really truly want to live a life where you don't harm any animal, where you don't harm any people doing, any kind of labor behind anything, go to the mountains. Live off of the earth. You know, don't use any electronics. Don't use nothing. That's a true person that lives by their morals. If you're over here with an iPhone telling me, "Oh, why are you shopping at whatever place? Why are you supporting the fast fashion?" I'm
You're
not
gonna find something in that person that's like, but you eat meat, and then for the next person, but you have your sports car. For the other person, you
Yeah,
have your
yeah,
Louis
no.
Vuitton. You know, so there's always something. Anyways,
Dejen que la gente compre donde se le dé la gana. No es problema de nadie. Anyway, and so,
backhanded comments.
backhanded comments. Y entonces, y truly, honestly, yo es ahí cuando me doy cuenta, oh, esta muchacha o muchacho lidia con self-esteem issues. Porque una persona que no lidia con self-esteem issues doesn't tarnish others in their self-esteem, or doesn't
Right.
try to tarnish others in their self-esteem. So entonces, yes, when I get those comments, or when I get those looks of like, de abajo arriba, de arriba abajo y todo, siento feo por esa persona. Porque es like, no, truly, like, hay cosas más bonitas, hay
Yeah.
cosas más lindas. Pudiendo vivir una vida feliz y tranquilo, te quieres enfocar en where I buy my stuff, and te quieres enfocar en darme un comentario que yo no te pedí, pero que te va a hacer sentir a ti bien decírmelo.
But I also
know?
think that, as women, we're interesting because, and I know that as you're mentioning that I've lived this. I've lived both sides of it. I've lived a season where I could say I did want to be the best dressed. Did I achieve it? Probably not. But in my mind, I did feel like, okay, today I was, prettier. Today I was this or whatever. And I do think that sometimes it is difficult to be in the presence of someone that has that radiates a lot more beauty or a lot more grace or a lot more favor. And when you're trying to achieve that because you are lacking in it or you feel like you're lacking in it, it is hard to truly sincerely compliment someone, and especially when maybe it's someone that typically gets a lot of compliments consistently. And so you're like, okay, well, I'm over here really trying my best to do what I can to feel confident, but for another person it just seems like it comes so naturally. So I think for me it took a while for me to get out of that mindset of having to want to have this competition with, in reality, no one. It was just myself of wanting to be this person that somehow won everybody's compliments, everybody's attention. Didn't matter who, didn't matter from what person. I just wanted to feel that. And so I think it's an admirable that for you, it was your relationship with God that changed that. I think for me, it a lot of the times that I've stepped back from being in a position of a spotlight, that's been very healthy for me. And I think that it's let me learn balance. Now I think that if I do ever step in at the spotlight again, I would know how to manage it. But every time I took and we've recently just talked about this. Every time I take a setback, and it's like, oh, ya no eres la main one, ya no eres la que todos están haciéndole una pregunta, and you're kind of in the sidelines and sitting with that feeling. That's what's allowed me to be like, it's okay. And it's not a bad thing. And it's not because you're not beautiful. And it's not because you're not important. It just means that One, there's always going to be someone in the room that has better hair, better hygiene, better looks, whatever. Always, always, always. Maybe that Sunday it was me, but for the rest of the year it wasn't, and that's okay, you know. And so I think for me, learning to just not be in the mix of things sometimes is what helped me to just be comfortable in my own skin. So, you know, for me, I can honestly say I don't overdo it in my outfits. I don't have that because comfort for me is always a big thing. And so I dress, I think, nice, but to my comfort, you know? And so if I'm going to go to church, and I've mentioned this before, if I don't feel like I can raise my hands, I probably won't wear it, because then I do tend to question within myself, why am I wearing this? You know, I'm coming to church and I'm coming to a place where I am worshiping God. Again, I know that there's seasons. I'm married now. I know that if I were to have this conversation with single me probably would have had a different perspective, because single me is trying to get Joel. So I probably would have had the one that just went here. So I understand that I'm also in a very different season in my life. But also for me, beauty is more than just
The outside.
the outside. You know, I've learned that beauty has a lot to do with how you treat people. And the Bible talks about this. It talks about women should not put their attention and their efforts in their appearance, but in how they are holy and how they are godly. And so I've seen it. There are women that I've interacted with that their spirit makes them beautiful. And they're not women that are like dressed in the like fanciest clothes or their hair is done. You know, right now I can think of someone specific, and you interact with them and they're beautiful. They're just beautiful. Like their spirit, their humor, their smile, their willingness to serve, that's just beautiful. And then obviously it's an add-on, you know, when you see, you know, if they dress up or whatever. But I think that that's something that I've valued now more than ever, that when beauty fades. And I have experienced it with certain people that really love to hear that they look younger than what they are. And my fear for those people is that what's going to happen when you no longer look as young as people think you do? Does that mean that you're not going to feel as confident? Does that mean that you're not going to feel as beautiful? And so sometimes I'm like, I'm thankful that up until this point, I know that I don't have it all together. Even my hair, like, un día sí tal vez me lo voy a pintar, you know, si de veras I can't stand it. But I have a lot of ganas, you know, and sometimes it is like, man, I have my ganas. But it's something that's just like, okay, I'm aging. It's a reminder that my hands aren't always going to look like this. They're going to wrinkle up. I'm going to look different. And if I base all of my effort on just my face or just my body, what's going to happen when I'm 45, when I'm 50, when I'm 60? Yes, I could take all the supplements, eat the best life, exercise, todo eso lo tengo que hacer. But even then, there's limitations. You know, we don't live forever.
No.
And so there has to be something more that is attached to beauty and esteem. And for me, it's your character. It's your character that should give you more esteem, and knowing that, because I know the kind of person that I am, I'm not going to do that. And that gives me confidence. Knowing that I wouldn't compromise my values because of the kind of person that I am, that gives me confidence. And so I think that's where I've become, but it's also been because of me getting away from being in the spotlight.
From the spotlight.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that there are just people that radiate sort of like godly beauty in a way. Sort of, you know, they're very, yes, you know, they're put together women and todo, pero they have a very good spirit. You feel good being around them. They energize you. They don't take away. They give.
Yeah.
As they give and they give, and I think, and they don't give you their life. They give you what, like, como te diré, they make it about you, right?
That's
They
hard.
yes. And so I think those are the people that who, they make it about you and how you've been, how are you, and I remember this about you, how's that going, y todo eso, versus someone that gives you, but gives you
Let me tell
their
you about my
thing,
life. Let me tell
uh-huh.
you about what's going on,
Yeah.
and you didn't even ask a question, but I'm gonna tell you
Yeah,
because
I think que definitely la belleza es no nada más lo de afuera, es también lo de adentro, y lo de adentro, pues I feel like that eso es lo que va a durar, o sea, sí, Joel estuvo atraído a tu outer thing también, a tu outer appearance, pero what's gonna last en los 50, los 60, los 70, 80
I don't read my
is
face.
is your character.
Yeah.
It's those conversations that he can have only with you. It's those, it's that of like, I love her authenticity. I love who she is. And I think we've spoken a lot about that. I'm very hard on being authentic. I'm very like, you need to be authentic. And that doesn't mean that you're going to be who you are wherever you're at, porque también tienes que ver balance,
Baby.
place and people, place and time. Pero sí hay una essence in you that shouldn't, shouldn't change unless it's not a good essence. Pero entonces sí tiene que haber cambios, pero sí, lo que va a durar. Y la belleza pues no dura. Entonces, en México teníamos, ok, esto va a sonar mal, I know, pero I think it is something that is dying. Pero en México había un saying que decía, el que no es bonito tiene que ser chistoso, por lo menos, porque al bonito se le pasan las cosas, pero el chistoso tiene que trabajar,
Right.
pero el feo tiene que
You gotta work
trabajar.
to have a personality.
Yeah, exactly, tiene que trabajar. Entonces, I do think that
Even a los feos está pasando. Is that what you're saying?
I think it is. I think we live in such a delusional society that everyone thinks they're the last Coke in the desert. That everyone thinks they deserve
We don't put enough
the
work
beauty queen. They
our
deserve,
character.
they deserve the king or whatever, And
Right.
so I'm thankful that I grew up with a mother that was very like,
Te falta.
te falta, like, estás bonita, hija, para mí, pero my mom, I think que mi mamá hizo un buen trabajo en prepararnos para el mundo. Mi mamá sabía que el mundo nos iba a decir, no eres la última coca en el desierto, no eres la más bonita, no eres la más inteligente, no eres la más esto, no eres la más esto, no eres la más esto. Entonces mi mamá, creo que hizo un buen trabajo en no bajarnos el autoestima, porque esto es diferente. Alguien que te dice, estás fea, eres tonta, eres esto, eso es diferente.
No sirves para nada.
Ajá, no sirves para nada. Pero mi mamá hizo un buen trabajo en no crearnos una idea errónea de nosotras mismas.
Right.
Yo tenía una idea muy errónea mía, pero ello era por
En lo
otras
negativo.
cosas, en lo negativo.
Yeah.
Pero nunca fue porque, no, hombre, yo donde camino yo ando dejando gold. No.
Right.
Y ábranme la red carpet. No, tampoco. And so, even when my confidence was based off what others said, I still had to have moments where I was like, okay, pero, so and so tiene sus cosas. So and so también está bonita. So and so es más inteligente. So and so, o sea, de todas maneras, I still had that upbringing of like, okay, I know we said this que no es bueno compararte, but I still had an upbringing of like, you also need to look at others so you can look at yourself and be like, okay, pero estoy bien. No tengo ni tanta ni muy, muy. And so, I think que por eso, because my mom was very keen on that of like, okay, no te creas, no, que no se te suba a la cabeza, no tengas delusions, vamos.
Right.
Mi mamá sí fue también mucho de, ok, pero ¿cómo es tu conversación? ¿Que llenas a la gente o les quitas su gozo, ¿verdad? O sea, eres una persona que eres
Porque de nada
agradable.
sirve que estés hermosa, pero que tengas un carácter feo.
Feo, exactly. Y hasta eso se casan. O
No,
sea,
claro,
Dios
claro.
tiene compasión de quien Él quiere. Pero mi mamá,
Pero también hay algunos que están rete feos, pero tienen un espíritu tan bonito y también se casan.
there you go.
There's de
I'm
los
waiting my
dos,
chance.
There's de los dos.
Ajá, entonces, pero mi mamá,
Gracias.
caímos en la gracia. Pero mi mamá siempre fue de, ok, pero ¿qué aportas tú cuando hablas? ¿Qué sale de tu boca? Porque recuerda que de lo que tu boca habla es del corazón, es de lo que
Right.
tienes en tu corazón. Entonces, mi mamá siempre era así mucho de, ok, sí, a veces, am, por ejemplo, el día ¿cómo se dice? Cuando fuimos a la laundry y que le dije a mi mamá lo que
Oh,
me
yeah.
pasó con la señora que me dijo, ay, qué bonitos ojos tienes. Ok, esa vez llegué y le dije a mi mamá, ay, ¿qué cree que me pasó esto y aquello? Y mi mamá, being my mom, obviously she didn't get excited. She was just kind of like, okay. Y le hace, pero a lo mejor también fue otra cosa, a lo mejor fue porque ustedes traían falda, estaban hablando de la iglesia y yo, sí, sí, yo creo que sí, ya no me la quedé así. Ujú.
She took it away from you.
Yeah, exactly. Porque mi mamá vio claramente que se me estaba queriendo meter a la cabeza.
Ah,
Se me
okay.
estaba, yo me quería llenar la cabeza de ideas que no me iban a hacer bien. Entonces mi mamá dice, bueno, vamos a pararte ahí y, ok, sí estás bonita, eres mi hija, yo sé, a mí también me gustan tus ojos, pero, pero mi mamá era más como, pero ¿la evangelizaste? Kinda like,
Ah, no. What did you do with that?
le demostraste que no nada más es lo de afuera, es lo de adentro también. O sea, ¿cómo respondiste? ¿Fuiste amable? ¿Fuiste grosera? O sea, ¿qué, verdad? Entonces, ya cuando mi mamá me bajó de que yo me quería subir, ya me quedé de, sí, ¿verdad? Entonces, por ejemplo, a mi mamá, there's very, very few things that would amuse my mom.
She's impressed.
Yeah, I don't impress her with
She's
all that stuff.
surprised.
También there are times where le digo a mi mamá, mire, me veo bien bonita con este vestido y whatever. And she's like, sí, 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 no, sí, sí, sí te ve bonito y todo, pero ¿qué hay en tu corazón? I'm like, Mom. Y a veces le digo, Mom, no todo tiene que ser una lección. Hay cosas que nada más necesito un compliment de usted porque usted es mi madre. Y porque sé que usted va a ser honesta. Y le hace, ok, sí, no, pues ya te le dije, sí te ves bien, pero
I think
¿oraste?
también es etapas, because I also think that you are at an age where you are at a place where you are getting closer and closer to marriage and motherhood. So I don't think that while yes, I do think it's always nice to have a compliment. I do think you're in the season of what are you going to do with that, and what are you going to be held responsible for your behavior and your character y todo eso. I think when you are coming of age and you are someone who's, literally in the transition. I remember, to not be as, I'm going to try to say this as vague as possible to not be vulgar, but there's a transition when you are a little girl where you start to look like a girl. And I remember that is a very awkward season, because you're like, I know that that's going to happen, but now that it's happening, I don't know how to handle it.
Right.
And so I do think that to tell a child in that season where they're transitioning of becoming and looking like a girl, I think it is hard to tell that child, here's the responsibility that comes with beauty and how como es que está en tu corazón, because I think in that season it is important to say, no, si estás bonita, porque it's so awkward that you're like, I don't even know what I look like. I've looked like this for so long, now I look like this, and then through the puberty stage, and even through when you're figuring out what you look like. But I think that when you reach a certain age, there does have to be a shift in your mind. And I think that's what I think is a positive thing for you, and it's a positive thing in the fact that you're sharing it, because maybe other people can apply it. Maybe it's time that we stop living off of the compliment and we start to transition in what is beyond beauty. Maybe there needs to be some accountability attached to how I look like and what I put on, so that I am prepared for the next stage in my life. Because I do think that your mom having that wisdom, really, in bringing it back to, pero es porque tal vez esto y lo que otro, aquí está en tu corazón. It's only going to prepare you for when you get married. Because I can tell you, when I first got married, even though I had come a long way from maybe wanting to be the center of the attention and stuff like that, I remember the first year I would put on an outfit, and Joel had never witnessed this. I would put on an outfit, I didn't like it, and then I'd change another outfit, and now there's 4 or 5 different outfits on the bed, and he's like, "What? You looked fine in the first one. Why is this number 7?" And now I'm frustrated because my hair doesn't look the way I want it to, because I've changed so many times. Now the 6th outfit is like, should I have kept the 2nd one? And now, it's like, we got to go to church. We got to go. What are you doing? He puts one outfit and that's
Yes,
it,
that's it. Yeah.
And I'm just like, but I don't, and I lived this even growing up, and I had moments where I was like, I just don't feel pretty. And I would cry, and I would have a moment. He's like, why are you crying? Why are you crying? Like, you're beautiful. You're fine. Like, you're good. And now, and I kid you not, now, every Sunday, I have to put on one outfit. And I don't do that because Joel's like, no, en esta casa nomás te vas a poner un outfit. But because I realized how childish that was. And it was like, yes, why? And obviously for him, it was like, but you know you're beautiful. I think you're beautiful. So why did you have to go through that process of 10 outfits so that you can result with nothing fits me, nothing looks good, and I'm ugly? I'm not beautiful, I'm not attractive. And so it's taken me a while, and I'm thankful that now I'm in a different place, because maybe now as a mom it'll be different. But I think that it's a good thing to start to transition into that accountability,
Right.
and not live off of just the compliments, because I do think that for people who haven't had that transition, it's going to be that much harder later in life to deal with the reality of ya no soy la última coca en el desierto. Porque then at that point, it's not going to be someone not telling you a compliment. Now age caught to you. Now it's wrinkles caught to you. And now it's where people have that middle age crisis or whatever. And it's like, had you just gone through the transition and you were already confident and you were stable in your self-esteem, and you made beauty more than what it is on the outside, now when those things catch up to you, it's not going to affect you.
Right.
Because you've already done all of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I just, it's a journey. Like, I can't say, again, I'm not perfect, and I still have days that I want to look nice, and I feel like I look nice.
Yes.
And even now, right, with my hair, I haven't straightened my hair in 5 months. And I've been on my curly hair journey. It's not where I want it to be, but it's getting there. But even then, I know that at the end of the day, it's not an end all be all for me.
Yeah.
And there's more to me, hopefully, than what I look like.
Yeah, no, I think speaking of that, and just to start wrapping it up, I do think that we also have to see what is it that you want to do with your life, I guess.
Right.
Like there, because let's be honest, va a haber quien te diga, I don't care what people say.
Oh, of course.
I don't care if I make them feel uncomfortable. I don't care I don't care what they think about me. And they're walking around not paying really any mind to no one. And I say it in almost like in a negative way. They don't care about people either for good or bad. They don't care at all, and I think you can have someone que se mira hasta como una muñequita, pero it's just that, una muñequita. No tiene feelings, no aporta nada, pasa por la vida porque está pasando por la vida porque pues, está viva, pero what do you want to bring to people? What do you want to give to people? Entonces, por ejemplo, in our cases, we're talking about inner beauty because I would like to say that we want to be...
Maybe it's because we I'm gonna say something so like sad, but it's like maybe if we were la última coca en el desierto since the beginning, who knows what kind of conversation we'd be having right now? It'd be like, no, girl, feel it, work it, express it. Pero because hey, we didn't have those experiences. Yeah, obviously we are
Yeah,
inside
yeah.
of inner beauty.
Yeah, and I agree. Maybe if we had, those beautiful facial
Features
features,
symmetrical.
symmetrical, you
No
know,
mole.
no dog bit off half of your lip, kind of thing. Maybe, yes, maybe we would be like, no, dude, like, por donde yo paso, todo mundo, whatever. But I do, and I do think that this is why we're leaning towards inner beauty, porque we come from maybe experiences where it led us to think, I need to work on my personality.
Yes.
I need to work on, porque I cannot expect for my beauty to take me somewhere. It has to be my personality, it has to be my character. And so, but again, if by a miracle, someone that is in that mindset of like, I don't care what people say, for good or bad, I'm gonna do me because I'm just that kind of person. Go ahead, live your life, do it. I'm just saying, for those that want more out of life, giving will always be the best way. Giving of yourself to others. And when I say giving of yourself, I don't mean to sit down and tell someone your life and your struggles and todo lo que te está pasando. No, I mean really giving life to people. Like, how are you? And treating them kindly, and treating them with the love of God, and being that person, at least that one person that their smile, their face lights up because they showed up to church.
Right.
I think I want to be that kind of person. I want to be that kind of person that, if I've been talking to this person because I want them to go to church, I want them to feel invited, I want them to feel welcomed, I'm going to light up when they show up. I want to be the person that they're like, okay, at least that one person welcomed me with, a warm smile and a warm hug, versus, oh, I don't know who that is because she never turned to look at me, or because I don't, it took me 3 months to know who that person was.
Because you were very unapproachable.
Because I was very
standoffish.
unapproachable. Yeah. No, I used to be that. I don't want to be that ever again. Because while I felt it was nice, it wasn't. It came from a broken place. It came from a hurt place. And so I wanna be someone that people say, sí, ajá, traerá un bonito vestido y lo que tú quieras, pero that's not who she is. Ella es, ella está tratando de estar con Dios, está tratando de estar bien con Dios. Entonces, if that's not you, move on.
To finish it, what would you say to younger self now?
Que todo se acaba, hasta lo bueno, pero también se acaba. Todo pasa, como dice Eclesiastes. No hay sufrimiento que dure 100 años y tampoco hay felicidad que dure tanto tiempo, pero hay algo que sí dura, y ese es el gozo. Y en vez de buscar por la felicidad, hay que buscar por el gozo. Busca el gozo que solo viene de Dios, y eso te va a traer por añadidura otras cosas, como la felicidad.
What does she sound like? Her mother.
My mother, yes. I sound like my mother.
I would tell myself, no, he wasn't looking at you. And stop straightening your hair because it's going to make it 10 times worse to repair it. But more than anything, it's okay to not be it. And when you find out that it's okay to not be it, the only one and the most beautiful and the best dressed and whatever, you can really shine in kindness, and you can really shine in grace. And then you will be beautiful, and then you will be attractive. And so save your money and look good y bañate, pero at the same time, there's another way that you can find more beauty, and do that first.
Yeah, don't make it your whole purpose in life, because there are better purposes in life.
Well, there you have it, guys. If you are currently experiencing with any kind of insecurity or low self-esteem, no, you are not alone. I am going on 28 years old. I'm going to be 28 in a couple weeks, 29. We don't have, sorry. Hey, you age does not last forever, you
Es lo
know?
de adentro, es lo de adentro
But
que
this is where
importa.
she stops counting, right? 29 for the next 10 years. If you're struggling with your self-esteem, you know, it could be you in your teenage years, you in your, I'm in my 20s, I'm in my 30s, you know. Maybe you're struggling because you're like, no me echan el ojo. What does that mean, you know?
No tengo
No
pegue.
tengo pegue. What I can say is, at least from my experiences, what Lula said, yeah, you know, it's more than just on the outside. And if you put more effort in perhaps your character, in your kindness, in your service, and the way you treat others, I personally believe that's going to go a much longer way.
Yes.
Now, on a practical level, comb your hair, take a shower,
Brush
your teeth. Of course, there are things that we can do within our means, but if you are doing that and even then you're like, I don't feel beautiful, if you are a believer, I do believe that's something that you should pray for. I know that those have been times where maybe not in that aspect I've prayed for, but I know that there's been other areas where I've said, God, I need you to change my perspective. I need you to open my eyes so that I could see you, so I could see myself the way that you see me.
Right.
And I can assure you, because we're believers, there will be a shift, there will be a transition. But also, if you are struggling with living off of the compliments that you are getting, or whatever it is that's currently feeding you, and if you don't get that, now that's a shot at your esteem. Know that it doesn't last forever. And the sooner that you start to transition and focus your attention on things that don't involve your appearance, the better it is going to be for you later in life when just things catch up to you.
Yeah.
So that is what we have for you guys today. We will see you guys on the next one, and we will actually be having some special guests soon. So
Yes.
we will see you on the next one, guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.